Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. It's the end of another year and of course that's an opportunity for us to look back and see ano ba yung mga realizations, observations, and yung mga biggest lessons na natutunan natin. Today, I'm sharing with you the 3 biggest lessons I had in 2024. Hopefully, by sharing them with you, ay mas maintindihan ko pa itong mga takeaways ko. I can understand myself better and also solidify the lessons in my mind. At of course, syempre sana ay may makuha rin kayong mga lessons na pwede nyo dalhin sa 2025. Before anything else, I hope ay nakasubscribe na kayo sa ating YouTube channel, youtube.com/readytoberichyt at nakafollow sa ating Facebook page na facebook.com/readytoberich. By profession, I'm a registered financial planner. But before I went into the financial industry, mas nakilala ako as a content creator. In fact, I was a blogger first before becoming an RFP. As a content creator, for the past year, I've been very busy creating content not only on YouTube but also, of course, in my original blog sa fitzvillafuerte.com, creating episodes sa podcast natin, and also sa mga various social networks like TikTok and even Instagram and Twitter. It's been a challenging year creating original content and sometimes I do repurpose my content para mas makatipid sa oras at mas maging productive. Besides being a content creator, I am also like you, a content consumer. In my observation, online content can be categorized into 3 types. The first one ay yung entertainment. Yung entertainment, meron pa siyang 2 subcategories. The first one ay yung mga low or zero value entertainment. And then the second one ay yung mga high value entertainment. Siguro hindi ko na kailangan explain yung mga zero or low value entertainment, but I actually like consuming yung mga high-value forms of entertainment. Hindi lang ito nakaka-entertain, but also it gives us meaningful time. May mga lessons din tayong pwedeng matutunan. And also, it helps us really relax because that's the main purpose of us in consuming entertaining content. Furthermore, yung mga high-value entertainment, usually, napapansin ko, ito yung mga nakakatawa, mga masasayang content na walang sinasaktan na ibang tao. Another type that we consume ay yung mga news and current events or what I would like to say as short-term information. Ito yung nagsasabi kung ano ba yung nangyayari sa paligid natin at hindi lang ito limited sa news in politics, business, but kasama na rin yung entertainment or yung mga chismis, mga showbiz chismis. The third type ay yung long-term information. Ito na usually yung mga educational content kung saan yung mga matututunan natin is something that we can apply and it can have a long-term impact in our lives. So bakit ko sinishare sa inyo ito? Because this is the first lesson that I learned in 2024, yung self-regulation of my online consumption. Self-regulation is the ability to manage your behavior and reactions in different situations. It involves taking a pause between a feeling and an action to think things through and make a plan. Para sa akin, ang ibig sabihin ng self-regulation when it comes to online consumption is before we really partake of an online content, we have to ask ourselves, is this something that is worth my time? Marami ako nakikita ng mga content online, particularly mga videos na pointless. And you will see sa comments na, I just wasted 30 seconds of my life or 5 minutes of my life. Ibalik nyo yung oras ko kasi nasayang yung oras ko dito. So, by being aware of the type of content that you're consuming, you can avoid more of these pointless or low-value entertainment. And also, yung mga short-term information na wala namang impact sa buhay natin. When I say short-term information, relevant lang siya for a few days or a few weeks. And para sa akin, just to get rid of all the unnecessary noise or even information that is floating around, and we can focus more dun sa mga talagang high-value information and educational content, pwede mong tanungin yung sarili mo yes, I am reading this news, pero maapektuhan ba nito yung buhay ko for the long term? Is this something that's just necessary for me to learn in the next few days? And after that, useless na siya? If so, then might as well not consume that at all. An example of short-term information is yung mga news, particularly mga showbiz balita, mga entertainment news, mga chismis. But on the other hand, even yung mga balita tungkol sa typhoon, I would say those are short-term information na importante lang for us habang nandito yung bagyo. So if there's a typhoon that's coming, essential na malaman natin kung saan yung path niya and how strong it is and how it will affect us. But to really seek out yung early updates about the typhoon, I think that's already unnecessary. Because if it's really important for us to know, then may mga kaibigan tayo, kapamilya tayo na probably magre-remind sa atin na, uy, nagpalit yung path ng bagyo parating dito sa area natin, maganda tayo. Then, that's the time that you check back on the information about the typhoon. But if it's relatively far from you at puro ulan lang ang ma-experience mo, I don't think you really need to have an early update of the typhoon because those are short-term information that is, I would say, low value already. At sayang yung oras mo, dapat nagkukonsume ka na lang ng mga long-term value or mga educational information. Or at least give yourself some high-value entertainment as well. So how am I planning to improve my self-regulation when it comes to consuming online content? I will limit the amount of time that I spend on social media especially. And also, kailangan mas aware ako kapag, I'm already doom scrolling and I should stop. The second thing that I can improve on is to really have the mindset that I will use social media primarily to connect with other people. I'm not there to just randomly scroll through information and just read through the posts and updates of my friends, but really find opportunities to connect. For example, meron akong college friend na birthday pala today. So, hindi lang ako basta-basta babati ng happy birthday, but also take this as an opportunity to probably rekindle the connection or the friendship kasi matagal ko nang hindi nakakausap. So, aside from sending a greeting, I would probably also send a message na, uy, kamusta ka na? Saan ka na ngayon? And without really any other hidden agenda. So, I just want to be updated kung ano na ba yung nangyayari sa kanya because we'll never know. Sometimes, itong mga old friends natin ay meron palang may i-contribute na value sa ating current situation. Probably, baka meron siyang alam na investment opportunity na I could also get into. Hindi natin alam. So, it's important to not just be online but engage with people and have the purpose of connection when you're on social media. And lastly, I think it's important to be intentional before we even open a website. So, pagbubuksan ko yung Facebook app, for example, tatanungin ko na yung sarili ko, bakit ko siya bubuksan? Kasi gusto kong makita kung ano nangyayari. And with that, I'll probably give myself 15 minutes to do that. Kung bubuksan ko yung Instagram, kasi meron akong i-check na picture na pinost daw ng friend ko na kailangan ko makita. Then, when I open the Instagram app, I will immediately go to the account or profile of my friend and look at the picture and probably give it a like and comment. After that, tapos na yung purpose ko, I can give myself 5 minutes to scroll around if I want to. But ideally siguro, I'll close the app already after that. Meron akong gustong i-check na hashtag on Twitter. Then, I'll open my X app or Twitter app, input the hashtag and just read through the post for 10 minutes. And then after that, I can close the app. So as you can see, I am trying to limit yung time ko on social media trying to avoid accidentally running through a toxic or a negative content na ayokong makita at that point. But also, more importantly, mas intentional, mas may purpose yung aking ginagawa. So that's part of my plan to improve my self-regulation when it comes to consuming content online. And that's really the first lesson that I learned in 2024 na kailangan kong mas maging aware sa mga kinukonsume kong content online because it would really affect not just our mental health but also our productivity, and I think it's a healthier way to start 2025. For 2024 ay tuloy-tuloy ang ating pagiging registered financial planner. May mga kababayan tayo na natulungan na binigyan natin ng investment plan or financial plan, at ito ay nangyayari through our one-on-one consultation. But also may mga local companies tayo nakatrabaho kung saan nagbigay tayo ng mga financial literacy seminars. But also, aside from the local companies, I've had an opportunity this year to work with global companies, mga foreign companies, at nakakausap tayo ng mga Americans and even mga Europeans or mga taga UK in particular. And I was happy to be able to help them with their financial plans. One thing that I've realized is that yung pagdating sa pera, usapin ng pera, although these people in other countries have different resources, investment opportunities, they have different tax regulations, etc. Yung pinaka-foundation ng personal finance ay pare-pareho lang. We all need to save, budget, manage our debt, and invest. Sa pakikipag-usap natin sa mga Filipinos, sa mga foreigners, sa one-on-one consultation, and even sa mga seminars or mga classroom settings natin, I realized that each person comes into it with different states of mind. I realized or I observed that they in general fall into 4 categories. The first one are those that are in crisis mode. Ito talaga may malaking problema na kailangan ng urgent solution. Usually ito yung may malaking utang at kailangan nila ng strategy kung paano ba i-manage yung kanilang debt. The second category are those that are struggling. Ito naman yung may financial difficulties pero kaya pa naman, okay pa naman, but they are really feeling the stress, the financial strain, and they realize that they need help before it gets worse. The third type are those that are planning. Ito yung okay naman yung financial situation but they feel that they are missing something. Ito yung may mga gustong gawin pero hindi nila alam kung paano nila magagawa or paano nila ma-achieve yung financial goals nila. However, when it comes to their situation, they are relatively secure and stable. The fourth one are yung mga optimizers. Ito yung mga okay naman yung kanilang financial situation. They are in fact earning good and probably able to achieve some or most of their financial goals. Pero feeling nila, pwede pa natin palakin yung kinikita natin. Feeling nila may mga investments silang nami-miss out na mas maganda pa dun sa kung ano yung meron sila. And nothing wrong with that. That's why they're called optimizers. And I would gladly help them if it means that giving them the most out of their hard-earned money. So why am I sharing this with you? Because it is related to the second lesson that I learned in 2024, which is how important the skill of empathy is. Yes, empathy is a skill that can be developed and learned over time. It's a soft skill that's important for human interaction and well-being. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others and respond with care and compassion. Napaka-importante ng empathy sa trabaho ko, and I realized that I am not giving it more attention that it should be. Oo, we try to empathize with the people we've talked to, but if it is a skill, then it means we can improve it. So, for this year, na-realize ko na kailangan ko rin bigyan ng attention yung aking skill of empathy so that I can help others better next year. So how exactly am I planning to improve my empathy? Isang strategy ay natutunan ko sa isang fellow financial planner, which is to approach a conversation with curiosity and to ask a lot of questions. So pag meron akong kausap na one-on-one consultation, siguro mas maganda na I take the time to really listen to them. So active listening also, but more than that, to ask a lot of questions, to be curious about what they have to say, to listen more and speak less. By listening and being open-minded, by listening and not being judgmental, having an open mind with what they're going to share, I will definitely increase my empathy and improve the skill. Napaka-importante talaga ng empathy because if you cannot understand the situation that they're going through, it will be hard for me, for anyone, to give good financial advice. My goal really is to improve my skills as a financial consultant so that I can give better investment and financial advice to help more people. So that's the second lesson, which is to develop and improve my empathy as a skill for next year. So 2024 has been very busy for me, especially sa ating social life. I made the choice to go out more often and meet new people. And along the way, I've made some new friends. One thing that I've observed, and I sometimes hear from my friends as well, is that as you grow older, making new friends becomes more difficult. And I would say there's some truth to that. As I try to go out and meet new people, I would always be shy in introducing myself. Usually, kailangan kong maghanap ng common friend namin para maipakilala ko sa isang grupo. But I think it's really important to have the courage to introduce yourself to strangers, and just even talking to strangers would be a very interesting experience for you. Furthermore, as I meet people during this year, hindi natin maiaalis na nakakategorize natin yung mga tao. May mga Gen X, may mga Gen Y, yung mga millennials, and mga Gen Zs. We can also categorize people based on their income class or income level. And kung kapareho kayo ng friend ko, kinakategorize din niya yung mga tao o yung mga nami-meet niya under different zodiac. No, nako, he's a Pisces, or nako, medyo hindi ako friendly sa mga Taurus, etc. But sa dami nung nakilala ko this year, I realized that these are just categories but not hard labels sa tao. A person is very dynamic and they would always belong in a spectrum of different personalities. So, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na porket Leo siya ay ganito na kagad yung ugali niya. Porket Gen Z siya ay ganito na dapat yung kanyang values and personality. So, hindi ganon. Which means, when you meet someone, it's important to have that genuine interest to get to know them. Which means, when meeting new people, I think it's important to understand the value of being vulnerable. Kailangan medyo open din tayo na magpakilala sa ibang tao, because that's the only way that we can create a bond or a connection with others. And that's the third biggest lesson that I learned in 2024, which is to not be afraid to be vulnerable. Merong value yung pagiging honest and open and compassionate natin sa ibang tao. Huwag tayong matakot na maging vulnerable. Being vulnerable can have significant value as it allows for deeper connections with others. It fosters trust and intimacy in relationships, promotes self-awareness, and can ultimately lead to a more fulfilling life by enabling you to be authentic and embrace your true self. Essentially, it is a sign of strength rather than weakness. So how do you become more vulnerable? It really starts by being more honest. So, being honest not just to others but to yourself. minsan kailangan mo tanongin yung sarili mo, ito ba talaga ang gusto ko? Or ito ba talaga ako? Before ko gawin itong action na to, is this really me? Or am I just being pressured by society? Napi-peer pressure lang ba ako kaya ako gagawin ito? So it's important to be honest with yourself and be your authentic self because that's how you become more vulnerable dahil pinapakita mo publicly kung sino ka talaga. Another way that we can show vulnerability is to be compassionate to others. Makinig tayo sa mga sinasabi ng mga iba. We try to be more empathic or improve natin yung skill of empathy natin. So, by being more compassionate with the situation of others, by being more kind to others, we can show our vulnerability as well. Lastly, I think that the best way to become more vulnerable is to have the courage to be more forthcoming or mas maging matapang tayo na mag-share ng ating buhay, ng ating mga nararamdaman. Be brave enough to share our thoughts, opinions, and feelings with people that we trust. So, how can we earn the trust of others? By listening more to them. And once we reach that level of trust with a person, with a friend, then dapat hindi tayo natatakot na maglabas din ng ating mga nararamdaman, naiisip sa kanila. That's how we become more vulnerable. And in doing so, we can strengthen our relationships, our bonds with our friends and family. So this is really something that I don't give enough attention to. Yung pagiging vulnerable ko sa ibang tao, medyo guarded kasi ako. And I think that's the lesson that I wanted to share with you. The last lesson that I learned in 2024, which is the importance of being more open with my thoughts and feelings to other people, especially to my trusted friends. And something that I will plan to do more in 2025. So those are the 3 biggest lessons that I had for 2024. Number 1 is to self-regulate yung ating online consumption habits. Number 2 is to find ways to improve our skill of empathy. And number 3 is to have the courage to be more vulnerable to others. And hopefully, itong 3 lessons na to ay mas ma-apply natin sa 2025. Of course, there were other realizations and lessons that I learned dito sa nakaraang taon, but I'll reserve that sa ibang video na lang siguro. With that, I hope that you learned something dito sa ating last video for the year. And sana ay nakasubscribe na kayo sa ating YouTube channel, Ready to Be Rich YT, at sa ating Facebook page na facebook.com/readytoberich. I am excited to give you more sensible, meaningful, and useful content next year at makita-kita tayo ulit sa mga susunod nating videos. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe.